Hello, everybody. I am Tyler Ward, founder of Songhouse. I have been working in the music space for 20 years, a self-made independent artist, janitor, and CEO of my own company, me as an artist, which I'm sure you independent artists understand the journey, the battle to be able to fight for yourself at every single level, from recording, production, to mixing, to mastering, to creating opportunities for yourself and networking, the whole shebang. And I just want to give you a quick little update on what this conversation is going to be about. I am bringing one of my dear friends, one of my producer icon buddies, in to have a conversation about the dreaded word artificial intelligence, I guess AI, the two words together that have caused a stir and a ruckus. Recently, I posted a video online calling out some people who are pretending to be the artists themselves when it's obviously prompted from our program that we all know, if you're watching this, probably know, Suno, which can create amazing representations of music and song in 30 seconds or less. And it's been such a controversial topic for people in the music industry. Are we going to lose our jobs as creatives, as producers, as songwriters, as a creative species in general? And so today I'm super excited. I got a phone call the other day. He's like, I've been trying to reach out to you. You've been on my heart. And he finally got a hold of me. We had a nice little conversation. I said, I don't want to know anything more than what you just told me. It was a great 10-minute conversation about how we can flip the script and look at AI in a completely different way than my doom and gloom perspective. And so I said, hey, this conversation is worth having recorded and having people be able to comment and give their 2 cents of opinion. So I'm going to welcome to the stage my friend Lee Miles. And before he comes on the stage, just so you understand how important it is that he's on this podcast, is because he is a Grammy award-winning producer. So he's been in the industry for years. He makes his living doing it. He's done artist development of all levels, from the top to people who are just starting out. He's worked with some of my favorite bands, which is insane. The Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, for all those in 2000 who love that kind of music. He was kind of the founder of that sound for them. And Puddle of Mud, credits with Tiffany Haddish, which is his project that he had, the Grammy Award winning thing. And he's just done so many things to a point where I'm like, everything that he says, it has weight, it has value. And I just think it'd be so interesting to have a conversation with him, so you guys can have your own opinions, inform yourselves about what's happening in the music industry, and then take that knowledge, make your own decisions, and hopefully armor up for where you're headed. And so I have my perspectives. I'm working through it. I think it's a beautiful tool, but also at the same time too, I'm also been going through a depression for about 18 months, trying to figure out, oh my gosh, the music industry is over. So when he called me, he goes, I want to use this for good. I love you, Tyler. Let's have a conversation. So welcome to the stage, my man, Lee Miles. Welcome, good sir.
What's up, dude?
How you doing?
I'm kicking it, man. Kicking it. Thanks for that amazing introduction. I'm like, whoa, chill out. I'm not that special. Man. I think that it's an important moment, and we've been through some of them. I'll just let you know also right off the bat, when I think I was with you actually the day where I saw for the first time one of the earlier versions of Suno. And I remember immediately getting this dark sense in my guttural, just like, ooh, just like everybody else, you know? So no one's immune to the initial feelings, and I went through my entire doom and gloom just like you did. And there comes a moment where I feel like, as a creative, as an artist, you have to make a decision where you can either live in a certain narrative that sucks and ends up like ruining your drive and making it all not worth it, or you can just like unplug that and plug it over to this other corner for a minute, see what exists. And that's what I started doing.
Yeah.
So I decided early on, like begrudgingly, to dive in and to see what really was there. Really, I wanted to know more about it. So when I spoke on it with any of my peers, I wasn't just like, you know how so often you get a sense of something, you get the headline and you kind of form your opinion, and that's it, because we're busy people, right? We're parents, for example. I don't have time for none of this jargon. And so right away, man, I started to really enjoy just the fact that I could take old songs and hear them in different iterations. I was like, man, this is, even as a fun thing for me to explore old things. And then obviously the technology began to develop, and now we're in a position where we're at version 5, I believe, or 5.1, 5 or 5.1. And what it's able to do is mind blowing. Everything that I hear every day, it's mind blowing. So what I'll start with saying is that initially, yes, the danger is real. And this isn't just in the music industry. This is all across the board. Attorneys are freaking out. Accountants are really freaking out. Everybody's freaking out. And
my accountant wanted to meet with me for the first time in like 5 years. And they're like, hey, I'm going to be in town. Do you want to meet up? And I was like, I understand the fear. Yeah.
But you know what?
Yeah,
and in that, it's like, hey, well, it makes people be more human. So right away, we're going to look at it like that. If this wasn't something where people needed to establish a better connection, you'd never hear from your accountant. You get a crappy Christmas bag every other year. So totally. That's my starting point, is to say that don't anyone out there feel like I'm coming at anyone with a necessarily you're wrong. You're not wrong. It's crazy, and it does put the conversation forward of where are you valuable. So we'll start there, and we'll just say, well, one way to look at it is I've lost my value. I'm not going to be a session player anymore. I'm going to lose all my production gigs. I'm going to not be able. These songs, they're sounding better than anything that I've ever done, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, wipe all that out, Tyler. Let's wipe all that out. Let's start.
Right, let's do a journey together. So let's play it in real time.
Yep.
I am and been a producer for 15 to 20 years, veteran producer from the beginning. When Cakewalk came out on a PC, started learning all the tools, and became very good and proficient and worked and have some big songs, billions of streams across the board. And thought to myself, of all things that are happening, this is the craziest part, all things that are happening in the AI space, music is safe. And then we get to a point where I put in a song, just like you said, and it does what I would consider a better job and make better choices than I would as a producer. And I'm going, this is crazy. So in real time, for example, when it becomes like we could wipe that out, but just to give you just some practicality. So Joey Barba is a producer friend of ours who's one of my favorite producers, super gifted and talented. Guy named Tony Chetta, who's also super gifted and incredible. They're part of the Songhouse family in some form or another. I used to ask them for tracks all the time because I needed tracks from different producers, giving them jobs and opportunities to top line over the songs that we do. You've been to a Songhouse session. For those of you who don't know, Songhouse, basically, we have tracks, we have 30 minutes, we write hooks over them, we put them out online. If they go viral, we kind of finish the song, put them out to the world. And so when AI started coming out, I'm going, I could just hit a button. It can be in the style of the artist, and I don't need to call on Joey and or you and or any of these other producers anymore because the job's done and it's easy and it's simple. So that opportunity is no longer there. And it used to be. So that's one example of what has been wiped out. So you say, well, going back to you. Okay, no. Okay, go. This is good. This is why we're having this conversation.
See, let's not forget about something that's really important. When you look at A&Rs, for example, why is one A&R better than another A&R? Because
taste preference, preference, ability to see through the bowl.
Discernment, general discernment. What hits your brain in a particular way is going to hit my brain in a completely different way. And so now it's more exciting. Well, in fact, I'm going to call Joey Barba and I'm going to put him on the gig and I'm going to see what his brain gives me. Because when you're exploring these avenues, there's so many areas that you can go with a project.
But why would I pay $2,500, $3,500 when I can pay $30 a month and get unlimited results? That's
But I'm still going to want to call Joey Barba because Joey Barba is the man and his discernment is special. You know what I'm talking about. And what he's going to do with that project is going to be different, from what it doesn't matter what I could do. So I could get a 30, say, yes, that's me. I want the Barba sauce. I want Tyler Ward to go through this and choose an A&R and pull it into a session and add his gift to it. I want all of these people that I adore and love and know that they're skilled and gifted to give me that which the only difference now is it doesn't hurt them with time. So it's better that I call Barba. Now I know if I want something from Barba, hey, can you put your ears on this? Can you put your gift on this? I don't have to sit them down for 12 hours and have them like getting in fights with the wife. Not that they do, but you know what I mean? And take them out. Instead, he's going to have pure creative power to investigate and send me back. So we just did it. We just did it with an artist, TX2, who's an incredible artist that he basically developed on his own and is now just blowing up. He sent me something and wanted, like me to kind of put my spin on things. That would have taken me 12 hours before. But this time it took me an hour and a half. And all I was doing was just showing the ideation of where I would take it in my mind. And because of that, it inspired the entire the song. And what it exists as now, which is a song that will be on his album, that was influenced by me the same way it would have been influenced by me had I done a lot more laborious work. So it's exciting, and the value of that is still there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
To give you guys a little bit of context, I'm driving on in my Jeep or my truck, and I get a phone call, and Lee and I are talking, and he mentions this one sentence, which this was 5 days ago. Like, let's not talk about this till we can have a podcast and have a conversation so people can chime in and give their perspective. But you said two things to me that stuck with me, and I'm kind of pissed, but they unlocked for me a part of my fear into a little bit more freedom, which was the most valuable thing we have is time and energy. And that's all we can give. And I'm going, I'll be honest, when I started using Suno or AI or different products in general, just to run my business, my brain, I have more rest at night. There's more time in the day to spend with family. I'm still doing the same projects and working hard. Instead of doing a 3-day project, it takes me about 6 hours. So what you said there, and I was like, you do have a point. That's a different perspective. I think the fear in lies, and you maybe help me walk through this, is, and I've gotten to the other side, and I'm still on my journey. I'm not fully there. But the other day, part of the reason we're having this discussion, I came across a video, and we'll show that video real quick. I just to give you guys some context. This came across my feed a couple days ago. You listen to this. Lord, I've tried. This is terrible. Lord, I've tried. Obviously, you could tune a vocal, or you could hire a choir to do this, but I just want you to listen to this. This pain, ooh, this pain. Lord, I tried. Lord, I try to make it my way. So I went and did some research to figure it out, and I looked through his past history. You tell me if this is the same guy singing on that track that is charting right now, that's going to do 500,000 streams in about 2 or 3 days, which would be a godsend for any hustling musician in the industry. Let me show you love. No, I won't pretend. Maybe you got vocal lessons. With AI now, you can prompt, I want it to sound like this with a gospel choir, and then you can get this result. Lord, I try to make it my way, but everything wrong. A vocal like that just doesn't happen. A vocal like that is prompted, or it's 20 years of perfecting your craft. There's so much I want to say about the process of using AI. I think people are like, it's a tool, it's great, it's wonderful. But when something like this happens and you outstream hardworking musicians and creatives who put their life, their blood, sweat, and tears, their stories, their heart and soul into the music, there has to be a system. There has to be an adult in the room to say, hey, I'm a creative, I'm a musician, I put 20 years of experience into learning my craft, and then I'm a great prompter with an idea, and I put it into Suno, and you get this, and now I'm out streaming the hardworking musician. So something is off, something is... Now, you're a brilliant marketer in that space because you're getting people like myself and thousands of others to talk about it, but at the same time, too, whew. So working with 300 or 400 different artists over the last 4 years in Songhouse, this is absolutely heartbreaking to me. The fact that this is a faith-based, I get so angry. We're promoting a faith-based song, and he's a liar.
We're expecting around 500K streams by the end of the week, not by my grace, not by her grace, but by the grace of God.
There has to be a system where this is AI, this is human. Basically, calling out this guy for pretending to be the AI artist and having a moment, when I looked at it recently, it's over 1 million streams, which would be killer and or a godsend for most artists who are independent, trying to hustle and build the brand and the whole thing. And that's just, it was really frustrating to me that he was lying about that. Now, I was more, okay, stop me there. You have some thoughts.
Oh, yeah. You might not
please.
like
Okay. Yeah, please. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that take, because you saw that video and then you reached out.
You know, the way that hit me is, and for the people out there, if you follow Tyler, you already know that what his truest gift is inspiring artists, and he's one of the things that I love the most about Tyler is anytime I'm in a conversation around him, I get inspired. I get inspired to move forward. I feel good about myself, and you have that gift, and that's a very special gift that not everybody has.
Well, thank you.
So when I saw that video, it struck me as being your gift inverted. Why? Because we're looking at this person who's clearly in a, there's like a white room with a SM7, he's holding, and he's like singing, and he kind of sucks, and that's okay. We all kind of suck at some point, but then he turns around and he's mimicking what the output is, which is this gorgeous, inspiring song that people connect with. And you say,
and stay there, keep your thought. The reason it was so confusing to me at the time is because it was the first time an artist that works with us, a creative, a writer, he'd dance it in the kitchen, listen to the song 10 times. And then he goes, dude, I love this song so much. And I go, I just want you to know that is an AI song. And he was perplexed. So picking up from there, go.
Yeah. So we could look at it that way, and we could say, well, why don't you hire a choir? Hire a choir?
That's expensive.
It's expensive. And by the way, if you listen to the message he's got, it's powerful. The beauty on what he wrote and what he iterated. So I say good for him. You know what you said? That would be life-changing for some artists. Well, let it be life-changing for him, because he had the initiative to take this out of his head and use these tools that gifted him the ability to express himself to where everyone could hear it. And now the job is complete. So whether or not he can really sing that way, let's just be honest. None of us can sing the way we sing on our records. None of us can, because we're melodyning and we're editing and we're popping and we're pipping. I just want, I feel you. It feels almost violating to see something rocket when, for example, the record that I made, that I went to you with Songhouse, that I made for my friend, a lot of meaning, a lot of time, a lot of hard blood, sweat, and tears, didn't pop off like that. I could be, as an artist, like, well, those were, I played the strings so good, and I caressed all my vocals, and I did this, and it's like, it's got like 5,000. Hold on. Wait, whose team am I on? Because if it's only mine, then I'm not doing any service to humanity. And for right now, I look at that artist and I go, you know what? Good for you. I know you can't sing like that. I know that you're lip syncing to what Suno did, but I love the joy that you just gave over 1 million people in music. And I love that you're keeping the conversation going. So we also want to look at, I don't really feel like these people are necessarily lying. When you have even real songs, people are in there, they're doing their content and they're singing along to a record that was hyper produced. It's like, my boy, you do not sound like that either. So I'm okay with it. And the most important thing is, like, we have so limited energy and time, like we said. Let's not put a wall up. Let's actually assimilate to what is, by the way, unstoppable. You want to use it for positivity, and there are going to be dangers. Listen, this is some Terminator business with AI when I think about it in the future, 5-10 years down the road. But in the meantime, what a beautiful moment that a guy, I don't remember, what's his name? The song guy, do you know?
I'm unfamiliar, unfortunately.
When a guy can be sitting in his bedroom, down on his luck, have something on his heart, take the time to sit there and go, what can I do with this? And then put it out however he can put it out. Hey, and at least the guy showed his real singing voice. I think that was incredibly brave to show that video of him sucking like that. I wouldn't do that. That's brave. And then, wow, look what it turned into after the fact. It's just inspiring to me. There's no part of me after thinking about it that feels threatened or bummed out. In fact, it makes me want to scream at all of the artists who I see complaining about AI and say, stop, chill. 2 points. Number one,
I just want to tell you, keep your 2 points, but I just want to take a minute and go, Lee, you've been in the industry for a long time. This has been your bread and butter. You're one of a small percentage who's made music a full-time career. You worked very, very, very hard, and you've had a lot of success and failures and pain and heartbreak and joy and excitement. And the fact that you're saying this to me, I just want you to know, is like, it's A, refreshing, B, I don't know what to do with it yet because I'm in the process. And so I just want to tell you, I'm taking all of what you're saying in. I'm not fighting you. I just want you to go. I just want you to know, one, thank you for sharing. So continue. Okay. Because this is shocking because you've been doing it longer than I have. And you've worked with some of my favorite bands, who had to sing and play the strings.
Here's one thing I want to throw out there to artists and players that are online talking about how it's over. Guess what? You just became luxury.
Explain. I don't understand. You said this to me earlier. I'm curious.
Guys, I really want to get my wife a nice purse. So I'm going to go down to Hermes and I'm going to get a purse that costs $5,000. Or I'm going to go over to Belk and get something that, to me, looks like the same purse, but is $180. Nah, I'm going to get the Hermes. Why? Because that's the real thing. Doesn't make the other thing really less real in terms of what it is. I can hold it, I can smell it. But no. Why do we buy Gucci products? Why do we buy the Rolex? Rolex is a watch. It costs $50,000 sometimes. Or I'm on Amazon, I get a dope ass watch that looks similar for $80. Come on, what are we doing? We're buying the Rolex because it's the real thing. You're afraid that you're going to lose your value. Well, my friends, the good news is your value just increased. Why? Because you're now the real thing. And people want the real thing. People want the real thing. Why do you think vinyl is selling the way it's selling? I'll tell you why. Because people want to touch. They want to know. I got the thing that the artist that I love wanted me to hold. I know that when I listen to this music, that guy's playing that instrument. Your value went up. I can have a dobro on my record now. Or I can have Derek Trucks play on my record now. Or I can have Tyler Ward produce my vocal. Or I can have a Suno vocal that everyone else has. What am I going to choose? If I can, I'm going to choose the real thing. So if anything, this is going to shake the gnats from the tree. That sounds harsh, but guess what? There's gnats on the tree. There's gnats on the tree. Some people should go and work at Whole Foods. They'll do better. And that's fine. That doesn't make anything. That's not a bad thing. Look, I can't play basketball. I can't. I love basketball. I think it looks super amazing and fun. But if I went out on the court and tried to do anything professionally, it would be ugly. And it always has been that way. So for the artists and the creatives, even if you haven't taught yourself how to play an instrument, you now can create. And for the ones who can play their instruments, who can operate a real production, who can still go to Sonic Ranch and sit behind a drum kit and play it and let the air into the record, you're now more valuable, not less. So get good at your instrument and put yourself out there as the real thing. And stop whining and complaining just because Homeboy can make this record and kick your record's ass. You're not doing enough. Thanks.
I'm still taking that and processing because it is such. Okay, Lee, we got to be honest with ourselves for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
It is such a paradigm shift because for 40 years of this life, it's like this is the way music is made, And obviously, we've had tools come in and help make that process quicker, more efficient, the whole thing. You talk about auto-tune, that changed the way people sing and made some other singers better than they were. You talk about Pro Tools and the editings. That was an upgrade to all recording from tape. But this one is such a paradigm shift where you can prompt, and it comes out with, to be honest with you, better melodies than most artists can write. Lyrically, there's a friend of mine named Steve Fee, who's #1 songwriter in Christian music space, had some big hits, and he was like, Tyler, I use AI all the time for my demo vocal.
Sure.
I use AI all the time, but as far as writing, it cannot write well at the moment. And I'm going, but it can create really cool melody ideas for you. Ideation. So the paradigm is such a sudden jerk and shift that I think it's going to take time for it to become the new normal. And I think there is a whole humanistic type mentality and perspective where people are like, let's be human first and save creation. Because I'm going, this is where, and help me with this. So the one thing that my nephew, great gifted, he's doing the play. He was the lead in the play singing. He's 11 years old. He's living here at the house. He's like, I really want to learn to play guitar. I was like, great, learn to play guitar. Want to play piano? Great. Comes to me, he's like, why would I play guitar if AI can do it better than me? Now, it took me, it shocked me because I'm going, yes, that makes sense. Why would you do that? But it now questions to me the meaning and the why behind why you want to play guitar. For me, it was, I want to play guitar because I want to impress the girls.
There you go.
And now as I become a producer, I want people not to learn how to play guitar because guitar is valuable. Like I spent time and energy and years, and that should be honored in my time and my value. And if everybody can do it, then I'm going to get paid less, or I won't be hired, or the thing that I love the most won't be able to give me the free time. So it is rooted in fear, which it shouldn't be, but it is rooted in fear of like, man, all this time and energy that I spent that I thought we were going to be retiring and coasting forever. One of the beautiful things that I've noticed is whenever there's let's just call it an obstacle in the way. There's an author who has a book called The Obstacle is the Way. And for me, I'm going with Songhouse and with this perspective and the shift and everything kind of condensing and becoming a little bit more efficient. I now have to get more creative and pivot and come about business in a very different perspective because it was comfortable for a while. Now, my brother, he sits in there and makes songs that are better than the songs that full-time songwriters that we have. And the dude's never really written a song, but guess what? His very first song that he came with, he now has a cut with an artist, which I'm going, that's been in you this whole time, but now I'm a little mad because you shortcut the line. Now, let's talk about this for a second. You shortcut the line. That's what it feels like. I'm happy for him, genuinely, because he's family, he's my brother. This other guy I don't know, so I'm going, wait, you can't just jump in front of the line. But we can't stop it. And I'm getting to a point here because I want to ask you this question. You told me the other day, you called me and you said AI has actually opened up a world of possibilities for me. And so this isn't all doom and gloom. But if you don't mind explaining to me, because Lee, you're working now. You sent me a picture the other day. Am I allowed to say his name?
Yeah.
You're sitting there in the studio the other day. You send me a picture. You go, hey, man, I'm thinking about you. Billy Bob Thornton is with you.
Yeah.
And y'all are doing a project.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah. Well,
then you call me and you go, hey, the doors are open. Can you give us a little bit of peek behind what's happening in your world?
Absolutely. I want to talk about that. So as I told you, I was diving heavily into the AI space to learn everything. And during that time, I have a singer-songwriter named Max Gomez, who, if you don't know, you really ought to go check out. He's one of the more special artists out there, and would probably be the last person I would expect to call me about what he called me about. And the reason he called me about, because we were already having this AI debate. He's a purist, and I don't want to change any of that about him. Like, he's very blown away at what I've been able to do with some of his stuff, but he's also a purist, and he's going to keep it that way. And once you investigate Max Gomez's music, it'll make complete sense, which, by the way, makes him now luxury. So he sent me a song, and he didn't tell me much about it. He just said, "Hey, with my friend Joe, and he's a older man, and he doesn't really have the wherewithal right now to get around to a studio or really do a lot of work because he's not totally well. But I just wanted to see what you could do with it because of what you're studying and stuff." I said, "Yeah, absolutely, perfect timing. I'm interested." Like Cindy, so he sent me an old MP3 that was recorded about 10 or 15 years ago. That's all he had, was an MP3, and so I was like, let's see, and they gave me a little vision. It was a song that was originally cut by Buddy Holly, and one of his last recordings before he died in New York, and he put a kind of an orchestration behind it because Buddy Holly wanted to do a lot of big orchestrations in his last year alive. He had this vision for music that he wanted to be doing, and he cut 4 songs, and one of them was called "Raining in My Heart." I didn't know this at the time, by the way. At the time, I just got a song, and I was like, "Damn, this song's pretty good. Let me play with it." And just knowing that he had told me they were thinking like some orchestration, and maybe I just like went mad scientist on it, just using it as a specimen to see, well, okay, this is going to fall into the category of what if you get an old sort of degraded piece of audio, what can you do? Well, I can extract the vocal, I can extract the music, I can use the music bed to go into Suno and see what I can find. And long story short, what I ended up sending them was so powerful. They called me crying. He and his wife called me. They were just so moved, and what I came to learn is that this was Joe Ely, who tragically just passed away this week. And Sharon, his amazing wife, just was so taken back by what I was able to do with that she asked me if I would begin to work on other songs. And I said, absolutely, because by that point I had sort of discovered that, oh, this is Joe. No wonder it's so great. And all these songs he was putting together for a record. I'm trying to think of how much I can say about the record. Okay, here's what I'll say. I ended up working on a large body of work, and these were things that were healing for Joe. These were things that were giving him so much joy in the darkest hours of his life that he would have never been able to do or be a part of without what we had. Their resources were limited, and their assets were extremely limited. So the fact that I was able to take these and with great joy doing it, be able to turn things around in such a manner and such a speed that it began to snowball. Because another thing I didn't know is that out of all the people I've ever known in the music industry, there might be Joe Ely might be the most loved person that I've ever encountered in the music industry. And when I say loved, I mean to the point where Billy Bob Thornton will invite me to his house just because I'm working with him, And Billy, and it's a great conversation to bring the Billy session in, because it's a great point as well as to why we shouldn't fear AI, because I had generated a track with it, all AI. I hadn't done really anything with it. It was a demo of what I would do for Joe that Billy took a liking to and wanted to sing on and like put his gift on. So I sent him the session, and they went over there, and he played drums, he played guitar, they have a like killer pianist, and this is all tracking to the ideation of what I generated. So not every song gets that treatment, but hey, right. That song wouldn't exist in that iteration without that initial discovery. And that discovery would have taken, I'm telling you, to give them back what I gave them initially, it would have taken me a week, maybe more.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
So when I say the doors are opening, there's some of the most legendary musicians alive on this project now. Yeah. They all know everything about how it was made. They all understand that there's a hybrid going on, and they all love it. which was shocking to me because some of the people involved you would never expect to show up, even Billy, like to show up with the right attitude, and mostly because of how much they love Joe, but also it's great. And now we can take it and make it ours. What we do with this technology is how we move with it is really important. So when people say, oh man, now anybody can like generate AI music and anybody can, but can anybody generate what you generated?
Yeah.
No.
They can.
No, they can't.
No, I'm just saying. I
No,
feel like
can't. No, they can't.
And I okay. No, they cannot. At the fundamental level, no, they cannot. I do believe that. It's like my vision, it's your vision. It is what it is. It's going to make its own way, have its own ideation and its own final format. However, this is where I get so frustrated is because I can have an 11-year-old prompt something that's pretty whatever, and it competes with my heart and soul and what I've created. And I'm going, that feels very unfair. Now, I'm one of those artists right now who go, that feels unfair because he doesn't care. And this is my blood, sweat, tears, and soul. So that's where I'm going. And no one who's listening, because I've done many experiments, no one cares as long as they're moved by it. They don't care about how they got to the final product. Some people do. Some people care a lot. But if it moves you, period. So that's
well,
why
let me ask you this question.
Yeah, please. Ask away.
Was it ever fair for the person who had all these feelings and things in their head that they could never express because they simply couldn't have the luxury of the time that we had and the gifts and my parents who bought me instruments some people didn't have? Was it ever fair for them? Like, was it fair for the fact that my wife, who is arguably the worst singer in the entire world, has for years told me she has so many ideas and she's just wished that she could realize those ideas, wished that she had any way to do it. She was jealous. She could add at me like, that you can do that. And now she's able to sit there and hum into this thing, her vision, and search and pour through and be like, that's what I hear.
Beautiful.
So was it ever fair for those people? No. And is it fair now for you?
Hold on a second. Pause for a second. Let's just take it into a different. You talked about you've always wanted to be a basketball player, good basketball player.
Yeah.
Is it fair that I loved basketball too and I'm not in the NBA?
Is that fair?
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Do you think I should be able to compete with those in the NBA?
I think if they came out with a bodysuit, like if Elon Musk made a bodysuit that you operated, that was connected through Neuralink, that made you 7.5 foot tall and unstoppable.
Yeah.
But you controlled the bodysuit and you got on the NBA, that's fair. Okay. Is it fair that you can't get on the NBA right now? Yes. Why? Because you didn't do the work.
Exactly.
And there's some people that would argue, well, then what about people that did all the work and still didn't make it? I can't speak to the many roads that you went down that were incorrect. I went down many roads that were incorrect.
But you had the persistence and the love and the desire to push through and learn. And yes, you had a gift, but that gift was developed over time. And if my 11-year-old can make a song just as good as your output and people are impressed by it and they love that one more than yours, not saying it's a competition, but I'm saying like there is a market space for people. Like there's only a limited amount of time for people to hear certain songs. I'm going, this is why it's such a paradigm shift, like such a paradigm shift where I have to step outside of it and go, it's not even about the final product anymore for a creative business mind like myself, who's trying to give opportunities to people who want to suffer to a point to get to the end goal where it's like, oh, I can make a living. I worked so hard to make a living doing music. I'm just saying it's such a paradigm shift where the only good thing I can see about all this is it takes away all of your ego desires to be, hey, I worked so hard, I should be rewarded, to why do you do this in the first place? And what you're speaking to, Lee, is the why we do it in the first place. Why do you create art? Why did I create it in the first place? Part of it was because I just wanted attention and connection and certain things that weren't necessarily pure for the music.
You know, when
But
your nephew said, "Why would
yeah,
I learn to play acoustic guitar?" You know what your answer is? It's a question. You ask him, "Have you ever sat out on a porch in a beautiful morning with your guitar, with your feet propped up, and you were strumming a guitar and you sang and you just cried because you just had this beautiful moment with God and the world and this instrument and the
mm,
vibration, and you just
yeah.
cried, thankful cry of that moment, that special moment, and that beautiful moment that you can never purchase. Have you?" He'll say no. You're like, "Well, you better learn how to play guitar."
And it's the purest form of music for me. And I don't know where it was for you, but I remember being an eighth grader in the church and I saw this guy who's playing guitar and he was like, if you practice for 6 months, you could be in a band. And I was like, but
Yeah.
I went home and I practiced, but there was this motivation thing of like, I could be in a band.
Yeah.
I want to play music for people to hear, like express like that. But that's a commitment.
Okay.
And so there's this purity of like, okay, but I remember during those moments where I would be on the front porch with my feet up, learning, my fingers were bleeding, it felt like, and they were calloused. And I was like, I'm never going to get this. And then I got it. There was this, it didn't matter who saw it. There
No.
was this purity to the music. I genuinely believe this, and this is why I'm going, the music business in general has corrupted and or tainted the purity of creation and music so much to a point where I'm going, if I can't market it, if an artist has this great song and great moment and can't market it, then no one's ever going to hear their stuff. So it's like this thing of like, well, in order to protect the art and have it heard, you got to think from a business logistical standpoint. And what's happening is the paradigm is shifting in the music business so much where your wife can come and do her ideation, put out a song, or this homeboy can put out a song, and eventually she has the potential to reach millions of people.
Well, she already has. She has an account called Jacqueline Belts, and all she does is sing covers. And she has one original, and it's the worst thing you've ever heard. But she does it passionately. And millions of imagine me. My wife can't sing for hell, and she obliterates me on social media. It's just. But
well, I just think we have to. So I'm looking sometimes at the top level, like what's been built fundamentally as a creative and an artist and a business person and creating a career, and you have all these fundamental pieces. And when the core gets ripped out of like, oh, you got to go back to making music because it's everybody can do what you do. You have to actually make music because you love to make music and it moves you and you love connecting with people. That has to be my why. It's crazy. It like got rid of all of the like, oh, I could, for example, we work at Songhouse. We work with 400 artists in the last 4 years, probably 60, 70 artists a year. And I used to go around, I would walk through the airport and see a guy playing in the corner. I'd be like, oh, he should come to Songhouse. He just doesn't have a platform. Let's get him an opportunity. He can play his song. So I would I'd go down Broadway and see like, oh, these guys haven't. And I almost became their like crutch in a way where it was like, you're going to do this world and this work, but you just don't understand what social media can bring to the value of what you're doing here. And hopefully we can show you that value. And what I've stopped doing is going, you're really good, but you're not a star and you're not excellent and great. And I feel like you're gonna do good things. But because everybody can do good things now in the music space, I don't necessarily want to take a chance on that person. I would like to take a chance on the person that connects with human beings, has star quality and power, has a great vocal, and they're like a triple threat mix versus like a guy who's like a good writer and a singer in the corner at the airport who I used to just want to give an opportunity. So there's like, it's almost cut the middle class out for me. It's made me want to focus on the top tier, or at the same time too, just create music because I love music. And so I'm struggling because there's this gap now. Anyways, this is me verbal processing.
Did you ever have time? Did you ever really have time to cover the full spectrum? No. And should you always have been doing it for the love of music? Yes. And does that, like I said, the gnat's shaking from the tree. There are those who aren't doing it for the right reasons. There are those who, just the same as if I was born with a weird foot that didn't have toes. That's not my fault, but like, I'm not going to be that guy. And we have to have that acceptance too, like understanding that There are the black swan events where somebody like the gentleman you posted does this work and it works. But let me tell you something, that's not happening all the time. That's not happening all
You
the
said
time.
something to me, and you said a couple words to me that stuck with me. I was like, this is the shortest conversation, and these have just for the last 4 days. One, you said it's like he won, but it's like winning the lotto.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's a good point. It's like not everybody will play this game, and maybe one or two might pop off, but that leaves room still for the development and the artist and the creation for the artist and the person who's going to be consistent with it and not just build on
Exactly,
AI.
because what's next
Yeah.
for him? I mean, you gotta think of the beautiful set of circumstances for that gentleman to have the wherewithal to take the camera out, to have the wherewithal to sit there and do what he did, to have the wherewithal then to know that he had this tool, to have the wherewithal then to know where, when, and how to post it. You know, that's amazing. That should be a case study. And, you know, we'll find out if this artist does continue. We should name the artist. We're being buttholes.
I know we should give him some credit. I'll put it in the description.
Yeah, go ahead. Put it, yeah. So it's in the description. But yeah, like I marvel at that stuff, man. And I just rebuke the naughty, nasty, ugly, downtrodden, depressed version of me that could very easily exist.
Was there a moment? Was there a moment where it was like, oh my gosh, like, did you have your doom and gloom season?
Yeah.
And then, what was? Can you walk us through kind of when it started and then when things started shifting?
The first moment that I really suffered was when I took a song that I was currently producing and I put it in and did a few things, and within 3 minutes had the whole thing demolished. Like it was so much better than anything that I was doing at that time. Okay? And I sat there and I sat back and I just went, fuck. Bleep that one. And then I remember it deepened because so going from that point, I knew that I was still early, and people, that was back when I would say, have you ever heard of Suno? And they're like, and I'm like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, you almost want to keep it a secret.
That was
like auto-tune first season.
I would be scrolling on Instagram and see all the stuff. That was before, it was still there. So in my mind, I was like, okay, nobody knows okay, let me just look at this more. But I definitely went through that, man. And I was a little angry, and that's why I said in the beginning of this conversation is that you're not wrong to have those. What my job to do, I feel like what I'm compelled and inspired to do right now is to basically grab the artist spirit that I interact with and shake them and say, wait. That's going to kill you. Because let's be honest, you're never not going to do music. I don't care how bad it gets financially. I don't care how bad it gets with, you, Tyler, are never not going to do music. It's impossible. That's just part of you. And what I think that we need to do for each other is to re-inspire and focus on the positive, especially for you, man. I want to see a video where you're like, look at this guy. Can you believe it? Listen to this. Look what he turned it into, and look how many people. Aren't you inspired to create? Don't you now want to go and take that beautiful song you wrote for your mom before she passed away and put it to the test? Don't you want to share your message with the world if you can? Don't you want to create? And who gives a shit if 5 people see it? You still did it, because maybe 5 people will see it, and maybe 500,000 people will see it. You know what I mean? Like,
so here, let me just to bring you into my world, and I'm. This makes me emotional. So yesterday, my brother, he had a broken relationship happen. Christian had to live with us for a year and a half. And then he came out to Nashville, 42 years old, trying to figure it out and start over. Right. And I show him, I'm like, dude, you should see this program. It was really right after we had our right. And the dude from Australia, your boy, was like, it's going to take our jobs. I was like, nah, it sounds like crap. Showed it to him. He was like, oh, this is crazy. So he started exploring in version 3, right?
Yeah.
And his stuff sounded garbage because it was AI. It was terrible. Yeah. But for him, it was like so it unlocked something, and it became obsessed. And he
Yes.
wanted to write all these moments of his life that he never got out. And he was obsessed because he's just that way. He's designed and wired that way, where he wanted to make sure every lyric. And so he started focusing for the first time hearing the lyric, because he's like, oh, the lyric's more important than what's going on here. I got to tell my story. And
Yeah.
we wrote a song called 111 Days at Songhouse for my brother, because he'd spent 111 days working on one song. And then he had 75 different versions of that at the whole year. And he got to this point where 3 or 4 months ago, he wrote this song, and it was great. My mother-in-law was in the car. We were in Colorado, and he played it and it had this hook. And I was like, dude, that hook's crazy. And my mom's like, dude, this is a hit song, because she's Loretta Lynn's manager. She's worked with Loretta Lynn from the very beginning. And I'm going, if she thinks it's a hook, she's probably not wrong. And so I just kind of was like, I'm kind of listen to this. I listened, and I was like, this is really, really, really good. And so we had an artist come through about 3 weeks ago, and I was like, Derek, we should pitch this to her. And we did, and she loved it, and she put her own spin on the second verse and the chorus and made it her own. And now it's coming out on January 23rd. And we have this artist who's singing one of his stories, and it's like he's never felt more seen in his entire life. And music's always been in his bones. He just didn't know how to get out because he doesn't talk to people. He stays cocooned, right? And then yesterday, my same mother-in-law, because we only have one of those, hopefully, unless whatever, she was like, Derek, I want to hear what you're working on. Tell me what you're working on. He's like, no. Instead of having an AI voice sing, he decided to man up and start singing himself for the first time. And he did 85 takes on one pass, and he tweaked it and edited it. And he had the track from Suno and the song that he wrote and spent time on. And she heard it, and she was like, Derek, this is really good. And he's like, no, it's not. They came into my bedroom last night, and she goes, you need to listen to the song right now. And so put on the song. And I was like, who's singing? And Derek's like, that's me. And I was like, I actually don't believe you. I don't believe you. I'm going to have to look. Is this like AI underneath you? He's like, no, I just sang everything. And this man who has never been able to express has this moment where he wants to impress Tyler, because Tyler does music and he's been a part of the whole thing. And he goes, you need to get, yeah. And
I'm busy.
And it was so,
sorry.
Yeah. But it was one of those things where I was like, I'm still processing. Like I'm in real time in the process. And even talking to you 5 days ago, it changed my mind on certain things. Seeing him changed my mind on certain things. But it's such a paradigm shift that I have to even go inwardly and ask myself some hard questions. And part of this conversation, what we're having, is not only, I know there are independent artists in the world who are listening to this whole thing. And if you listen to this whole thing, you're probably walking through what Lee was going through, what myself was going through. But it is not going back. There is no putting it back in the box. Our paradigm of music is completely different. However, Lee, I'd like to continue. I know this has been almost an hour. I want to leave you, if you have any final thoughts or things that you want to say, but I'd love to pick this conversation back up. Continue as you build and grow and discover new things, vice versa. Like, I think this is healthy. I appreciate you even taking the time just to walk me through your process, because it's like, it's definitely a paradigm shift.
I can tell you this. It is going to grow into a new conversation, and we'll save it for the next one. But the next one is, what am I doing right now? Oh, yeah, realizing that I can now become my own video director, my own full, like you think that music is having this conversation and it's crazy. Wait till you hear the film side of things. Because, my friends, you will be limitless in what you can create as artists. Limitless from now until the end of time. And this should excite you. If you're afraid of AI, tough. Join the conversation. Spread creation. If you want to be more valuable, be more valuable. Because I'm going to want to hire you because you play great and you're the hang, not because you have a credit. I want to know who you are. And if AI is out there competing, guess what? When I hear that AI record, and when they will eventually, they're working on it now, be able to show you how much of a record is AI and how much is real. that's really happening, you should be thankful. All DSPs, all video engine, everything is going to let you know how much of a percentage that track is AI. So when I see a record come out that's 0% AI, I know that's a special record. I know that's my Hermes bag. And so if you want to just look at it the best and actually most logical way, you all just became more valuable. Everyone. Players, writers, people who have never been able to get it out like your brother, they all just gained so much. And I'm so glad you told me that story about your brother, because that's exactly why it's important that we as communicators give these people permission, encourage them to go into it. Don't run away from it. People that ran away from streaming didn't fare so well. People that ran away from digital music took an extra 10 years and now they're really behind. So embrace that people win sometimes. Embrace that, yeah, you worked hard, your fingers bled, but you know what? Tomorrow morning, if you want, you can go out on that porch and you can sit there and have a cup of coffee and you can make yourself cry with how gifted that you are. And thank God for it. And in the meantime, I'm excited for the future.
In the meantime, this conversation, there's 3 other topics we want to hit in the future: the rebirth of live music, the publisher conversation of songwriting, which I feel like is a huge one because we've been talking with publishers.
That one's
the copyright protection conversation. That what is a copyright anymore, and what's it going to change into? And there are more studies with artists who, the number one rising independent artists right now are AI artists, which is fascinating. Yes. You look in the charts on Spotify.
This was only chapter 1, and chapter 1
is chapter 1.
Letting go.
Well, I appreciate your time, Lee. Thank you so much, and we'll continue this conversation, guys. Leave some comments and if you have any questions or want conversation starters, let us know in the comments, and we will get back to you and continue the conversation. So, if AI is fearful, we've been there, and I'm on my journey. I feel like Lee's a little bit further ahead, and let's let the conversation keep going. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Lee.